Wisconsin Senate candidate Eric Hovde. He's pretty wealthy, is my understanding.
He's a guy who is another seemingly astroturfing rich guy.
Right.
He has properties in San Diego. He has properties in Central America, which he said in a campaign event, I understand the immigrant experience coming from Central America because of my properties there.
And then that was a little bit misconstrued because I guess he has some like charity that helps migrants, but like he's a Republican.
The way he
so
said it, he sort of was like, I've
them?
seen this happen to my properties in Costa Rica, and I was like, brother, you're like an old white guy in Costa Rica. You're probably depriving them of resources in some way.
Yeah.
And then the other notable thing that he had said was that interview clip where he basically implied that maybe nursing home residents shouldn't vote.
Yes. Because he also has
investments in nursing homes.
Investments in nursing homes. He is the subject, a co-defendant in the California lawsuit accusing a senior living facility partly owned by the bank that he leads of elder abuse, negligence, and wrongful death. So he's just kind of like a
astroturfing rich guy who's running against Tammy Baldwin in the Senate, who is one of the few pretty good senators.
Yeah, and Wisconsin just redrew their maps. So it's going to be a little bit, I think, of an uphill climb for a Republican, hopefully, barring a disaster. But also maybe because he doesn't really he's not a real patriot. He's not a patriot. He's not a real patriot as displayed by this clip.
Thank you. We're all so blessed to be part of the greatest country in the history of mankind, America. America has given more prosperity, freedom to its people than any country in the history of the world. It not only saved the world once, but twice in the last century from oppression and tyranny. I'm proud to be an American. I love my country. So let's say the Pledge of Allegiance together. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Can we get that again?
Go back. Oh, he didn't even finish the whole thing.
He goes. Okay.
Let me see if I can get it first, just to put myself. All right, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Bro, you just got washed by socialists.
Okay, go back.
Tyranny. I'm proud to be an American. I love my country.
Not as much as us.
So let's say the Pledge of Allegiance together.
Why would he do this?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Skipped like six.
Nailed it.
He skipped like 3 whole lines.
Go.
Oh wait.
Speedway.
Oh.
Thanks, Eric.
He skipped one part that a lot of true patriots enjoy the most, and that's the under God part.
Under God part. Yeah.
Did he skip to that? He skipped the
and to the republic which it stands.
For which it stands, because we're a republic.
One nation under God. He went indivisible for one nation under God. Indivisible.
He also couldn't say allegiance.
I pledge the allegiance. Also, he said the allegiance. No, there's no article. It's by pledge allegiance, brother.
He pledges to the legions, or he.
It sounds like he got the QAnon allegiance thing.
Yes.
Fuck! I was thinking where we go one, we go all. Shit.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like he was doing. Right? Pledge the allegiance. Where we go one, we go all.
I pledge to the legion of pedophiles who are running the cabal under the pizzeria and drinking children.
They're like, all right, Eric Hovde, everybody, thank you.
Let's take that one more time, because I think the reason he stumbles at the allegiance is because he realizes as he starts, like, oh shit, I don't actually know this thing.
But he went into this saying, let's all say it together. The point. I
don't think he realized. I think he was like, oh, of course I know it, and then then when you actually
Yes.
start to do it, it's like, oh crap.
Do you know how sometimes apparently people say it's very difficult to just say the lyrics to the Star Spangled Banner? Like,
Right.
like I have it committed to memory when I sing it, but to actually just say them.
Or to say the ABCs
Right.
in a way that, or like basically
That's
do
not
it in
rhythmic.
reverse. I don't know.
That he might have just had a similar thing where he's like, "Oh yeah, I definitely know the Pledge of Allegiance. I'm going to say it on a microphone." Then he's like, "Wait, oh fuck, I actually don't. I don't know this at all."
No, this is like how conservatives talk about the Constitution. They actually don't have a familiarity with it. It's an icon.
Yeah, right.
It would have been a pretty great bit, though, if he was like, oh, let's all say this together. And the whole crowd in unison proceeded to say it just like he did with the stuttering and mess ups
yeah.
and all. Like, just completely together. Like, they all
and he'd
knew.
go, these are my kind of people. They know how to blindly follow authority.
It not only saved the world once, but twice in the last century from oppression and tyranny. I'm proud to be an American. I love my country. So let's say the Pledge of Allegiance together. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, under God, indivisible,
One nation.
with liberty and justice for all.
It's a SparkNotes version. It's a
Thank you.
SparkNotes version.
Amen.
Close enough, we get it.
Does he call it Pledge the Allegiance twice? Like, he doesn't just say it in the Pledge of Allegiance, but he refers to it as, let's all say the Pledge the Allegiance together. Go back and one more time. I
Also,
think he
wanna
actually
this
did
is
not
the
know.
Zapruder film, and the guy's wearing a Zapruder hat. Speaking of, I mean, the guy with the checkered fedora was even embarrassed by him. And when a guy in a checkered fedora is embarrassed by you, it's time to reevaluate your life choices.
I'm almost positive, though, he thinks it's called, like, it
Pledge
wasn't
of-
a mess up. He thinks
Yeah.
it's called the Pledge of the Allegiance.
All right, we got
Listen
another.
closely.
We need to listen very closely.
World, it not only saved the world once, but twice in the last century
Not Vietnam,
from
then?
oppression and tyranny. I'm proud to be an American. I love my country. So let's say the Pledge of Allegiance together.
Pledge the allegiance.
The Allegiance.
Pledge the allegiance to the flag
I pledge the allegiance. I pledge the allegiance. I pledge the allegiance.
republic for which it stands, indivisible.
Yeah.
I
He
pledge
thinks it's
the
called
allegiance.
No, I
Pledge
want to see the
Allegiance.
end. I want to see the end. I want to see the end where the guy gets embarrassed for him. Keep
For
going.
which it stands, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Amen. God bless America. Go Slinger Speedway.
Thanks, Eric. Jeez, this guy's
The guy,
embarrassing.
the guy in the graphic image, Slinger Speedway sweatshirt with a checker fedora, is like, this guy is a freaking loser. I should never have relied on him for this. I should have just said it. What the hell are you doing out here?
Pledge the
Pledge the
allegiance.
allegiance, baby.
I'm pledging my allegiance to
Beautiful.
hanging up the phones.
In my suburban New Jersey high school and late middle school, I was like I thought I was like edgy because I would stand,
wouldn't say
because I would
God.
stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance, but I wouldn't say it.
Oh, wow.
I would stand. I wouldn't say anything.
I would leave out the under God part.
And even I knew it, Eric. I could have said it.
Yep. Yeah.
Actually, I would take the John Cena route, actually. I stood there like this.
Oh.
Thugonomics. Also, loyalty, respect to the indivisible under God.
Oh, this is a wrestling thing.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, so that's okay.
Honestly, after hearing that rendition of Pledge of Allegiance, I can safely say that it seems like America has been compromised to a permanent end.
We don't honor our traditions anymore. It's up to people like us to say the Pledge of Allegiance off the dome.
I mean, are the socialists the real patriots?
I think so, folks.
I'm saying.
You trust the guy in the weird fedora and the weirdo he has doing the Pledge of Allegiance, or us? Bunch of cool people.
Trust us patriots here. Kowalski from Nebraska. All of you are saying the Pledge of Allegiance simultaneously brought back memories from elementary and middle school. Were we being brainwashed? Yes.
No, that's just a normal part of school and education that everyone should have to do is pledge fealty to the nation state they happen to be born in.
Bullprog, he even stumbled over their favorite part, under God. I know.
Seriously.
Well, it's the one nation where he really just didn't even say that. He didn't even get one nation in there at all, even to stumble it.
Snarkanorski, pledge
I missed the Confederacy. One nation, my ass.
Pledge of the Legions of Doom. Kellen Heller, he sounds like a Brit trying to do an American accent, overpronouncing every vowel. They either do it like this when they do an American accent, that's how British people do it, or they do the house style where I'm just gonna talk really gravelly and that's my American accent.
Also, I think he's really trying to hype up the Heartland accent because he lives in Southern California.
Oh, maybe.
Like, he probably doesn't actually sound like that.
Well, that's probably why he's not a real American.
Yeah.
Over there in Commie Land.
He's actually like, I pledge allegiance to the flag, dude. Cowabunga.
I pledge the allegiance.
Get pitted, bro.
I pledge the allegiance to shredding.
To shredding gnar, dog.
DSA Aaron from Atlanta, going to hell in a handbasket. LOL, this dude is insane. I'm assuming that's the Christian Zionist that Binder played. Dark Soul 9669. As an Emerson alumni, I can't say I'm surprised at what's happening there either. The administration never had their students back. Great students and professors, but god-awful treatment of us in our facilities while constantly trying to create a cult around the current president of the college. You could feel the disdain when my year joined and didn't buy into loving the president who, while they tried to got our resources and avoid tenuring professors.
The neoliberal university, you see how easily that can be made into the fascist university.
Not. I live next to a military base and have all my life, and my dad is the same. We were talking about how we can always tell the military is getting anxious about world events because they up the train pass when they normally do as a training base. They've been ramping up a lot more lately, and honestly, it's reminding me of the first 10 years after 9/11. They are ignoring cloud cover rules while blasting, which makes the booms louder and shakes buildings in the area. More jet and helicopter flyovers. Gate schedules are changing. That is not what I like to hear, but thank you for that information. The Quarter Armenian says Greenblatt wrote an opinion piece for CNN saying he witnessed violence firsthand at the protest, but only had secondhand accounts.
Yeah. His job is to lie.
First of all, CNN's editorial standards on this crap. I also remember back in the primary election when this is a totally different story, but the story about Bernie saying a woman couldn't be president to Elizabeth Warren was sourced all through secondhand tellings of those sources, by the way, as well, and presented as fact. So maybe CNN should kind of get a little bit more rigorous in what they're deciding they're going to reprint here. Well, New York Times, for example, too, that whole mass rape story was centered around secondhand accounts. Perhaps don't do that. Perhaps maybe have stricter standards.
Oh, they do have stricter standards for everything but
else.
This. Yeah. Did you guys actually, this reminded me, did you guys see, speaking of opinion op-eds and opinion pieces, did you guys see that piece in the Times from John McWhorter about teaching his students at Columbia? Did you guys cover that on here?
We didn't cover it, but
it's so fucking funny. I'm sorry, I just have to mention it. Last Thursday, this is John McWhorter for the Times. Last Thursday, in the music humanities class I teach at Columbia University, 2 students were giving an in-class presentation on the composer John Cage. His most famous piece is 433, which directs us to listen in silence to surrounding noise for exactly that period of time. I had to tell the students we could not listen to that piece that afternoon because the surrounding noise would have not been birds or people walking by in the hallway, but infuriated chanting from protesters outside the building. I mean,
it's not the right type of noise, Binder.
Just to underline the point.
If there's ever an example of a teacher, not knowing the subject matter, I mean, this guy should not be teaching. This guy should not be teaching a music humanities class.
What the hell are his qualifications to teach that class?
I mean, and I want to say I did look up what John, because I assumed that like when John Cage did this, there were probably people who didn't get it at the time, right? Because he just sits there in silence for 4 minutes or whatever. And the whole point is you're supposed to listen to your surroundings. So at the time, at the premiere of the piece, John Cage said in terms of people who didn't get it, they missed the point. There's no such thing as silence. What they thought was silence, because they didn't know how to listen, was full of accidental sounds. You could hear the wind stirring outside during the first movement. During the second, raindrops began pattering the roof. And during the third, people themselves made all kinds of interesting sounds as they talked or walked out. I mean, the guy was literally teaching a course on this very famous piece and didn't get it to the point where his own words was criticized by that composer who knows how long ago, because he did not get it.
McWhorter's a charlatan. Just if you look at his political views on Wikipedia, this is views on race. He's a black guy, by the way, if people don't know. But according to McWhorter, victimology, separatism, and anti-intellectualism underlie the general black community's response to all race-related issues. So, you know, interesting who gets just... I mean, allowed to be this stupid, frankly, to miss a point that sort of obviously, like the idea, like maybe someone's a bit like exactly the point that Cage is making should be sort of his bag of like, hey, we need to be exposed to the world and not afraid to engage with it. And instead he completely gets that wrong in a major newspaper. And, you know,
but what's incredible is like, even like I didn't go to school all that long ago, but like I was in college in the early to mid 2000s, and the Iraq War and the George Bush administration was a major part of my college experience, my college education. Like, these things aren't happening in spite of kids getting educated. This is the education. This is what is happening in the world when these students are attending college. They are learning real world politics, real world policy, how things happen, their role in the world, how their school plays a role in the world. How I went to art school, our art classes all became about activism, about anti-war and against the Iraq war. We weren't taught, don't pay attention to what's going on around you. No, what is happening in that moment is part of your education. Use it and learn from it, and it will make you who you are in the future. And it's so amazing to see all of these adults, really grown people who went to college 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago, not have any sort of context and understanding of this very basic thing that I've always come to I've always come to understand is like part of college. Activism on campus has always been a major thing, and it plays a role in students' education. It's happening as part of it.
Yeah, no, I hear you on that.
Well, John McWhorter's been elevated by a white supremacist system he doesn't want to see actually criticized. So just to put a point on that.